Hello, welcome to Summer Camp Culture TV. I'm your host, Matt Ralph, editor of SummerCampCulture.com, a website that tracks the collision of pop culture and summer camp. Summer Camp Culture TV is a new venture from the website. It's a way to sort of show you some of the things that I've been interacting with summer camps. I don't work at a summer camp, but I spend a lot of my free time hanging out at summer camps when I can and basically engaging in the summer camp community. We just recently had the holiday season, Hanukkah and Christmas, where a lot of gifts are exchanged, and I had a holiday gift guide where I sort of scoured the internet and found some gift ideas for people who love summer camp, gifts inspired by summer camp, and someone in my family actually read my blog apparently and bought me a pretty cool gift for Christmas. It's this Camp Candy lunch box. Camp Candy, of course, was a cartoon on NBC, and when I was a kid, I actually remember watching it, and it was John Candy, the late actor who left this earth way too early, played a camp director at a place called Camp Candy, and he had all these little kids, and there was all sorts of hijinks. And there's actually, speaking of Christmas as a holiday, there's actually a wonderful episode of Camp Candy, one of my favorites, where they basically have Christmas in the summertime, which is a summer camp tradition.
He even made his own paper snowflakes. We were really caught up in the holiday spirit.
That's not the only thing you were caught up in.
Jingle bells, come on, you. Jingle all the way.
Are you okay, John?
Me? Sure, Binky. I'm just practicing climbing down the chimney.
This wasn't on my Christmas list, and it wasn't a Christmas present, but I did get the Camp Run-Amuck. Camp Run-Amuck was a 1960s sitcom that lasted for a season, and it basically depicts a camp named Camp Run-Amuck, and across the river was the girls' camp, Camp Divine, and so there's the lovely counselor from across the river and the director of Camp Run-Amuck, and this is a comic book. To my knowledge, there was only one of these put out, so I had to get my hands on that. That just came in the mail the other day. Part of a regular thing I'd like to do on Summer Camp Culture TV is actually go and visit with people who are into summer camp like I am, people who share my obsession and my dedication to sort of sharing the message of summer camp, and also visiting actual camps. I have no intention to do a Jack and Laura, and by Jack and Laura I'm talking about Camping Coast to Coast. It's a great project that a couple of counselors, program directors, staff members at Camp Stella Maris have done the past couple off seasons from summer, where they've traveled around the country and visited summer camps. Definitely, if you haven't seen their website, check it out, Camping Coast to Coast. There's a nice ad on Summer Camp Culture because I love what they're doing and I want to support their efforts. So I'm not doing a Jack and Laura, but occasionally I travel and I want to kind of check out some camps. So recently I was down in San Antonio. I like to do the tag-along thing with my wife, when she has work conferences. So I went to San Antonio with her and while she was learning, I was sort of exploring and going to record shops and antique stores, and I had a chance to connect with someone on Twitter at Camp Slumber Falls, and so I went and took a visit and had a wonderful time there, visiting there, and so I want to show you some of the footage that I got there.
Hi, I'm Reverend Charles Stark. I'm the Director of Outdoor Ministry here at Slumber Falls Camp. We're located in New Braunfels, Texas, and we're just about 30 minutes north of San Antonio. The camp has been here since 1958 is when the programming started. We are a camp that's owned by the South Central Conference of the United Church of Christ, but we are open to everyone. We try to live out that hospitality that the UCC talks about when they say that no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Slumber Falls Camp is definitely holy ground. It's a place that has impacted people over these years. It continues to make a difference in the lives of young people and adults. We always like to talk about recruiting people to come to summer camp, but not only as campers, but to come as volunteers, because when you spend a week here as a counselor, I think you leave with just as much as a camper does in understanding how God is working in our midst in this world to make a difference.
While I was in Texas, I also got a chance to stop into Austin, which is one of my favorite cities in the U.S. It's been a number of years, probably about a decade since I've been to Austin, so I had to do some exploring. And while I was there, I wanted to catch up with Blake Sunshine. If you're not familiar with Blake is she's a talented young lady who works with summer camps in terms of their social media marketing, and so I really wanted to pick her brain, and we met up in Austin. In a great city there where she lives. Blake, she had worked with Facebook getting out of college. She went to the University of Texas there in Austin, and so she had a great job at Facebook. But the pool of summer camp, being a summer camp alum, was so great that she decided to start off on her own and do social media marketing specifically for summer camps. Which I spent a lot of time on social media interacting with camps, and there certainly is an obvious need for that. So she sort of fills that niche, and I got a chance to talk with her, and she shared a little bit about what she does.
Good.
Hi everyone, this is Blake Sunshine from Social Summer Camp. I'm so excited to be here in Austin, Texas with Matt from Summer Camp Culture. He was nice enough to meet me on this very cold and windy day to talk about summer camps. So he's asked me to talk a little bit about what I do. So my company, Social Summer Camp, helps summer camps take the amazing connections that they have at camp and move them online. So I help camps kind of create a social media strategy that helps drive forward their marketing goals. So it's different for all of the camps I work with. I help them with their social media content, with their social media ads, to drive new leads, new campers, awareness among moms, awareness among new target groups, and I also help them recruit and retain both campers and counselors. So how do you create a really engaging social media experience for your current campers and staff? I went to summer camp for 10 years at Keystone Camp in North Carolina. I was a counselor, a CIT, and a camper there, and I just love summer camp so much. And I was working at Facebook before this, and I just really wanted to find a way that I could move back to the summer camp industry. And there were a couple of things that drew me to the industry. One is the amazing product. We know that summer camp helps build confidence in kids, drives up self-esteem, and I just was so excited about helping to sell a product that I felt so passionately about. One of the other reasons was the camp directors. I get to work with some of the most fascinating and inspiring camp directors who really believe in the power of summer camp and are excited about the programs that they run.
Okay.
So a lot of camps ask me why they should be using technology when they really benefit from having a technology-free zone at their summer camp during the summer. And it's a really interesting question, and one that I think is actually really difficult for camps to answer. But the reality is that even though you have this technology-free zone at camp, it's still really important to use technology to market to your campers, especially with how much time they spend on their phones, on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram. It just is a place that if you're not there, then they're not thinking about you. And the most important thing you can do as a company and as a brand and as a summer camp is to have people thinking about you all the time and being excited about the types of content you're putting out. So I always recommend that camps use as many different types of technology as makes sense for them to market to their campers, even if they're not comfortable with using technology during the summer. So one of my proudest moments at camp was when I got the very coveted silver KC, which at my camp is what you get for passing a certain number of levels in your activities while you're a camper. And it really took me almost all 10 years I was there to get it. And it's really helped kind of shape the person that I am right now and how I approach my work with camps. It very much how I got my silver KC was systematically and by trying really hard and by being bold and being brave. And that's one of the kind of mottos I take to my camp clients is how can you really be bold and use use social media to reach your marketing objectives and to really think outside of the box from what you're comfortable doing and what you're used to doing.
So I recently wrote for Lantern Camps, which is a great website that's sort of dedicated to promoting overnight and residential camps. And I sort of reflected on the things that were highlights for me personally in summer camp pop culture in the last year. Some of those things included, and I sort of run down the top 10 list. So the number 10 thing on there was Beam Summer Camps, which is a summer camp in New Hampshire that does amazing artwork every summer. They have a big project. They put out a call for proposals. And this year, a UK-based arts collective called Robots came to the US and worked with the campers to build these amazing sculptures. Number 9 was, there was a lot of television programs this year that sort of were centered around camp. There was one that that only lasted one season on NBC. There was a reality show about set at a fake summer camp. But the thing that sort of stuck with me that I remember the most was the Mindy Project, a show I don't normally watch, the feature that stars Mindy Kaling, who of Office fame. And the thing that was really cool, Seth Rogen was a guest star on an episode, and Seth plays a character who Mindy went to summer camp with and had a kind of a thing for at camp. Number 8 was something that came upon us recently. Pete Holmes is a comedian who does a great late night show on TBS. And he recently had a monologue about Camp Cool. And he sort of talks about how he was maybe not cool growing up, but he was camp cool. And I love that monologue, and I definitely relate to that idea of, I wasn't necessarily cool in school, but I was cool at camp. And that was a sort of a great way of, I think, of sort of talking about how summer camps create this environment where kids are able to thrive in maybe ways that they aren't able to in their normal school environment. The number 7 highlight for me from 2013 was the Hello Flow commercial, the Camp Gyno commercial, and I just love this commercial. I mean, it went viral. It drew some, as any viral video does, it draws overwhelming praise, and then there's the immediate backlash about, oh, well, this is this or this is that. It was filmed at Camp Surprise Lake, which is a great camp with a wonderful tradition, and I mean the girl who acts in it she's just marvelous. She is full of confidence, and she advertises the product, but it's a really cute commercial, and I think it really sort of captures the essence of bunk life. And I don't know what it's like to be a girl camper, but to me it sort of speaks to that a little bit. The number 6 thing that I listed was Standing Up, which is a movie that's gone through a few name changes. It was originally at one time called Goat Island. It was called The Goats, and it's based on the Brock Cole book, young adult novel from the 80s called The Goats. And it's sort of, I sort of compare it to like a darker version of Moonrise Kingdom. Wonderful movie. DJ Caruso, who's an excellent filmmaker, made the film. And while it's not strictly a summer camp movie, it starts off set at Camp Tall Pine, and it's about these kids who are basically bullied and marooned on an island, and they sort of decide not to go back to camp and instead go on the run. And it's just a beautiful movie, beautifully shot, and it's set in the 80s, and that it checks all the nostalgia boxes for me. 5. And number 5 and number 4, because there were actually 2 instances, has to be Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake going to summer camp. And they did a couple. There was one over the summer, and there was one more recently where Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake are in their cabin and they're singing. The first one was Toto Africa. The second one was the Hootie and the Blowfish song, I Only Want to Be With You, and they're just hilarious. And they blew up. They had well over 1 million views on YouTube, and continue just to entertain. And it's just one of those moments where it's like, I know we'll look back several years from now and say that was a great moment in summer camp pop culture history. Number 3 was a book. I love to read, and so whenever a good summer camp culture book comes along, summer camp book comes along, I kind of eat that up. Fun Camp was one of those books for me. It's still in my bag. I mean, I keep it with me. It's a short book. Gabe Durham is a wonderful writer. He's witty. He's funny. He sort of collects. It's a different kind of book. It's one of those books that sort of is inspiring in its nature, the way it's written, because it's sort of a collection of different sort of narratives, sort of prose, sort of. There's some letters interspersed, and it's just really funny, and it really captures the summer camp experience from a number of different perspectives. Number 2, I went with a movie called Summerhood, which was also released as Age of Summerhood, and it is hands down one of the best summer camp movies I've ever seen. It was an indie film from a few years ago that's taken some time to get distribution in the U.S. It's a Canadian movie set at a summer camp, and John Cusack is sort of the big draw because he narrates it, and so he's telling the story about his time at summer camp. And the thing that I love most about this movie is that, and I'm a guy, so it really kind of captures what it's like to be a camper, and then on the other side to be a counselor. A lot of summer camp movies sort of focus on the older kids or the counselors and all their the ways they don't follow the rules or get into trouble. But this movie, not that no one gets in trouble, but it really sort of focuses on that sort of just the beauty of putting a bunch of young boys specifically into a camp cabin, and it's hilarious. It's just really a touching portrait of summer camp. And number 1 was probably the most high-profile piece of summer camp culture this past year, and that was Meg Wollitzer's novel The Interestings. The Interestings was everywhere as far as books are concerned. I've had many conversations with people. I go to bookstores, libraries, and people are talking about this book. And there's a reason for that, because it was a sweeping novel. It was long, and it was really involved, and very character driven. What the characters actually meet at summer camp, at an arts camp in New England, and the book sort of from there kind of tracks their lives and the ups and downs and the things that happen to them when they leave summer camp. It's called The Interestings because they're young art kids, and they think they're so interesting, so they call themselves Interestings. And it kind of deals a lot with a lot of issues beyond summer camp. But the thing that I think speaks to the summer camp audience is that these bonds of friendships that you form at camp that can last a lifetime. You can spend a couple weeks with someone, or a couple months in the summer with someone, and those friendships, those bonds that form, can have the potential to last a lifetime. So it's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, I would recommend checking it out. That's a wrap up on 2013. I look forward to blogging more, and to sharing, and to visiting camps, and to meeting more camp people, and sharing with you on the website and here on Summer Camp Culture TV. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.